is China now working with the United States of America in order to preserve the safety and security of many nations? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today, because China did something just this morning that is actually going to help millions and millions of lives and going to ensure that economies do not struggle. So I'll break down what's going on in just a moment. All I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So first off, let's discuss one thing. Why would China decide to help out the United States? Well, it's actually very simple. China is not trying to help the United States. China is trying to help themselves. China understands that their economy is in a little bit of a sticky situation. And China is not going to get out of this unscathed unless they get help from other countries. Just look at this. China is now putting pressure on Iran to rein in the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea or risk harming business relations. Now, you probably know exactly what's been going on in the Red Sea. The Houthis out of Yemen keep attacking ships that are supposedly going to or from Israel because Israel is attacking Hamas in Gaza. That is the one reason why the Houthis continue to attack these ships, is because they say they are protecting the people of Gaza and Hamas. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but all we know is these attacks continue to occur. Now, here's where things get very interesting. Today and tomorrow, the United States is actually meeting, or the United States National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, he's meeting in Taiwan with the Chinese foreign minister. And they are going to be discussing their current relations and communication going forward. That's the goal. Now, here's where things are taking a very interesting turn, though. The United States previously called on China. The United States asked China for help and assistance. The Biden administration knew it could not get out of this situation in the Middle East without the help of China. So that's exactly what happened. The United States and China used the meeting today and tomorrow as kind of their deadline to really ramp up the calls to Iran to prevent the Houthis from continuing to attack. Now, here's what this means moving forward. This could be good news for the United States. This could be good news for many Middle Eastern countries as well, because now there's going to be less attacks. There's going to be less threats. There's going to be less it's going to be less likely we go into a bigger war. Because right now there's a war between Russia and Ukraine. There's a war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. And we're getting very close to a war between the United States and Iran. This is also one of the reasons why some are concerned with the tensions in the Middle East. Let me just show you this. So here's the Middle East right here, okay? Anyway, so the Yemen Houthis right here, they're attacking ships right here in the Red Sea and in the Gulf of Aden. Well, this war is up here in Israel, right? So all this area right here is kind of on a very, it's a very difficult situation. It's tough times right now. But it's something else that's happening in Iraq right here, okay? In Iraq, what is going on is we are now discussing the possibility that the United States takes the troops out of Iraq. We are talking about that now. Okay, I want to read you a little bit of this article. Okay, look at this. It says nearly 21 years after the U.S. first invaded Iraq, a decade after American troops returned to beat back ISIS, and 7 years after U.S. and Iraqi forces ended the ISIS caliphate, the governments of the United States and Iraq are sitting down to discuss if, when, and how the remaining 2,500 U.S. troops will officially leave the country once again. That is huge. There's 2,500 troops still over in Iraq. We have troops, I believe like 800 troops in Syria as well. Okay, we do not have a lot of troops over in the Middle East, but we have some. And that is a threat to other countries in the Middle East. For instance, Iran. Iran is concerned because we do have troops in Iraq and Syria. So Iran is obviously fighting back against it. They do not want the United States in the Middle East. Now, it obviously makes sense because if Iran were here in the United States, we would not like that. If Iran was closer, we would not like that. And so that's part of the worry from Iran. But the United States has been in the Middle East for like 200 and some years. I believe in like the 1800s. And the reason for that initially was for oil, for textiles, for things like that. Now, the United States, we're in a very interesting situation. We're in that fork in the road. Which direction are we going to take? But all I can tell you right now is that the United States and the Biden administration, they know we cannot do this ourselves. We cannot just pull out of the Middle East. Okay, because things could easily go back to the way things were, 30, 40 years ago. We also can't just pull out without having someone else which is closer in the area. So the United States at this point is trying to figure out what's going to happen. Is China going to back the United States? Is China working with the United States? Well, the answer there is no. China is not working with the United States or for the United States. China is working for themselves. China wants to ensure that their economy, their own economy, isn't going to take another massive hit. So that's the reason why all this stuff is happening. China is pressuring Iran simply because they know their economy will take a hit. That's why China continues to pressure Iran. Now, I want to read you a little bit from this article. This is from Fox News. Okay, I want to read you this right here. It says, discussions about the ongoing attacks by the Yemen group and trade have come up repeatedly during recent meetings in the two countries. 4 Iranian sources told Reuters. The news agency reports that China has been Iran's biggest trade partner for the last decade, and according to data from trade analytics firm Kepler, it bought over 90% of the Islamic Republic's crude oil exports last year. 90% of their crude oil exports. That would be a huge blow. If Iran decides they're not going to listen to China, they're going to let the Yemen Houthis continue to attack ships going through the Red Sea. That is a huge blow. So it goes on to say, basically China says, if our interests are harmed in any way, it will impact our business with Tehran. So tell the Houthis to show restraint. It goes on to say, when China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs was asked about the matter, it said, China is a sincere friend of the countries of the Middle East and is committed to promoting regional security and stability and seeking common development and prosperity. So, there's no way we can see development and prosperity if there's these attacks in the Middle East, if we see a war in the Middle East, if the United States remains in the Middle East and is conducting patrol through the Red Sea. So, at this time, the interesting thing is the United States and China are now helping each other. So it's not about who is going to be bigger and better. It's about let's just ensure that both countries do not struggle over the next year. But again, for the United States, we have a presidential election. So if the Biden administration makes it look like we are now working with China, we are working hand in hand, and we are now, I don't think we're ever going to be, best friends. But if we are looking closer to that, that could be a good thing. But we'll see. All I can tell you right now is I'll be here every step of the way. I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.